Assalamu alaikum and good morning to everyone. Did the British Empire truly leave South Asia in 1947? If you look at our national holidays, our flags and our school textbooks, the answer seems obvious. We celebrate the end of colonial rule, but throughout my career, working working on the ground in conflict-affected regions, working for decades on the ground in conflict-affected regions, serving with the UNHCR and working directly with displaced families in places like Kuram, Orakzai and Khyber, I kept seeing a parallel reality. I didn't see a liberated landscape. I saw systems of control, extraction and subjugation that looked mirror perfect to the days of the British Raj. This realization is what compelled me to write my latest book titled as The realization is what compelled me to write my latest book titled as The Enduring Empire, How Post-Colonial Elites Preserved the Architecture of the British Raj in South Asia. Link to it has been given in the description of this video. And in this book, I challenge the orthodox narrative of post-colonial liberation across India, Pakistan and Afghanistan. My central argument is simple but sobering. The British did not dismantle the empire. They merely handed the keys over to localized, homegrown ruling elite who turned those exact same weapons inward against their own people. In this book's 14 chapters, I pull back the curtain on what I call neo-colonialism from within. I map out the multi-layered matrix that modern South Asian regimes use to protect their privilege and freeze out democratic accountability. When you read the book, you will explore three primary pillars of the enduring architecture. First, look at our legal systems. When independence came, the new ruling classes intentionally preserved oppressive imperial statutes like the Police Act of 1861 or the notorious Section 124A the sedition law, were originally designed to an occupying force to crush native dissent. Decades later, these exact same laws are actively used by our own governments to silence journalists, Decades later, these exact same laws are actively used by our own governments to silence journalists, criminalize peaceful protests, and maintain social control. Second, consider who consider who rules. I examine the cultural socialization that happens within exclusive colonial era chiefs colleges like Atchison College in Pakistan or Doon and Mayo colleges in India. These, these institutions breed a self-preserving dynastic echelon, military, bureaucratic, and political, that is entirely decoupled from the plight of the everyday citizen. They behave less like public servants and more like the imperial sahibs of old. Finally, I look at the geographic periphery. Just as the British Empire extracted resources from its colonies, modern South Asian capital practices internal colonialism, pacifying and extracting wealth from borderlands like Balochistan. So that video gets disconnected, but I am trying to connect the speech. Modern South Asian capitals practice internal colonialism, pacifying and extracting wealth from borderlands like Balochistan, Kashmir, and Nagaland. To sustain this setup, regional rulers consistently barter away national sovereignty to superpower patrons and international financial institutions in exchange for regime stabilizing aid. But the book does not just look backward. I also trace how this architecture, but the book does not just look backward. I also trace how this architecture has adapted to the 21st century. Control has evolved from state-run television monopolies into a high-tech panopticon. Today, the post-colonial state relies on sorry for the disruptions. That control has evolved. Today, the post-colonial state relies on military-grade spyware, digital censorship, and state-engineered internet blackouts to choke the flow of information. The tools are digital, but today the post-colonial state relies on military-grade spyware, digital censorship, and state-engineered internet blackouts to choke the flow of information. The tools are digital, but the strategy remains. Today, the post-colonial state relies on military-grade spyware, digital censorship, and state-engineered internet blackouts to choke the flow of information. The tools are digital, but the strategy remains fundamentally imperial: control the narrative, divide the populace, and conquer the discourse. Ultimately, I didn't write the enduring empire just to catalog historical grievances. I wrote it to serve as a wake-up call. We cannot fix the structural crisis tearing at the fabric of modern South Asia if we keep misdiagnosing the disease. True liberation requires us to look True liberation requires us to look past the political pageantry of 1947, recognize the inherited mechanics of oppression, and completely dismantle them. Only then can we achieve a true long delayed democratic dawn. Whether you are a student of history, an international relations enthusiast, or someone who deeply cares about the future of the region,